So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and let's dive in. So a little bit about No Typical Moments. No Typical Moments is a growth marketing agency that specifically works with businesses when they're at the end inflection point when they're ready to scale. So we have what we call a deep bench of marketing experts, everything from experts in online education and high tech. We also have experts in Facebook marketing, LinkedIn, strategy, funnel management, copywriters. We typically help companies try to reach seven-figure growth with strategic and tactical implementation. But what makes us different is we always try to imply the impact with profit methodology. So we tend to to work with companies that have a specific impact goal that they're trying to reach, not just the ROI. So we have a proven track record. We've worked with uh, 20, 30 clients over the last 30 years and helped them reach their goals. Here's my information. Reach out to me anytime. My background is I am a fractional chief marketing officer for No Typical Moments. I've held roles at companies like TurboTax, ProFlowers, Real Age Internal, but I've also helped a lot of companies more recently as a consultant. Wrote a book called Leads Are Good, Sales Are Better. I contribute to Forbes, and I am a board member of the Hawaii Center for Artificial Intelligence. And yeah, this image on the right might not look right, might not look like me because it is an AI generated image of me. This is not a real photo. And I use Headshot Pro. Just I don't know if you guys ever use the things. So what you do is you take a selfie of yourself. Actually, you have to take 15 selfies of yourself, upload them to Headshot Pro, and it'll generate 15 versions of photos of you or headshots, which is pretty cool. All right, so let's dive in. We're going to talk about LinkedIn. I'm going to do a real brief overview of LinkedIn. I don't think I even need to tell you guys this. It is the largest B2B network with over 700 million users. But more importantly, in the area of B2B marketing, it is highlighted. This number here is from HubSpot. They claim that it's 277% more effective at lead generation than Facebook or Twitter. That's the reason why I spend so much time
The audio just came into me. They accepted me into the meeting, so I'm going to listen now.
All right. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
Mute.
Chris, you muted yourself now.
Okay. Now I think I'm okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. They have a ton of features. They have postings, connections, messaging, inbox messaging, leads, newsletters, articles, ads, talent insights, showcase. They have all this stuff that you can do. All of it's pretty darn good. And if you haven't been doing LinkedIn leads, that's definitely something to test. But the three things that we wanted to talk about today that we have been using heavily as an agency recently is LinkedIn events, LinkedIn newsletters, and LinkedIn Live. And those are the three things that we're going to dive into today. First of all, LinkedIn events. The concept behind the use. First of all, let me ask this question. How many people here either raise their hands or put it in chat or just say yes? How many of you are using LinkedIn events right now? Or have used LinkedIn events in the past? Or have been interested? Okay, Grace, you've used it. Are you using it now? Okay. Anybody else using it now? Interested. Okay, thank you. All right. So let me explain. We use it heavily for mostly for business to business service-based businesses and SaaS products. But the concept is this. You can use monthly, you can call them webinars, but there's monthly meetings or events that you can host where you invite your prospects to attend on a monthly basis. You change those topics over time if you wish, The concept is that you're getting your content in front of your prospects on LinkedIn. That content builds trust and credibility that eventually leads to a purchase. The idea is that you're gaining awareness of your product or service on LinkedIn, generating interest with the event, and then after the event, you can move them to the desire and action phase of your marketing approach. So really, the LinkedIn events falls into the awareness and interest portion of the IATA model in marketing. Okay. Why LinkedIn events? Number one, it's free. Number two is you can reach your target audience pretty well. Like in the business to business world, your targeting on LinkedIn is better than almost any other platform. Also, LinkedIn prioritizes events above other messages, meaning if you invite somebody to a LinkedIn event using the LinkedIn event invite software or program, it pushes it up to the top, which means you get priority, right? The other one is continually placing relevant content in front of your audience, meaning just what I was saying, in that concept of the IATA model, to build trust and credibility, you want to constantly placing, just like with your blog, just like with social media, just like with everything else. But this is long form, copy, if you will, or long form content. You want to place that in front of people over time. The other thing is it's super easy to register. There's one button that says, would you like to attend the event? And you click yes, and that's it. There's no long forms to fill out because LinkedIn uses the data that you already have given them to fill out to register. It's also easy to communicate with registrants outside of email. So you can send them the emails to those that register, but you also can message them on LinkedIn, which you probably have seen people do in the past. It's also a reason to contact new people. So in this event on the right, which is a client of ours, what we do is we're reaching out to VP and leaders in human resources. So we send out a message that says, hi, Jamie, I just wanted to reach out to you because I know that you're a leader in human resource, and I would like to invite you to an event or a meeting only for HR leaders like yourself. We're going to be talking about political and social tensions rocking your workplace. Would you be able to join us? So rather than saying, hi, I want to sell you something. Do you want to connect? Where nobody wants to connect. Now you're connecting with them with something relevant. So the lead generation, you have a reason to connect with somebody, not just something willy-nilly, if you will. Re-engagement. So you can place your relevant content in front of them month over month, and then you can repurpose that content. So we take the webinars at the end of the or the meetings that we do in LinkedIn events. Then we upload those videos into something called VideoTap. VideoTap automatically takes that video, turns it into a blog post to Twitter or X posts, into video segments, and even we'll turn it into different languages if we want. So then we take the content from the event, and we have a blog, podcast, and newsletters out of it. Okay, so what is linked event in events? I'm not going to go into too much detail in this. I'll show you. I think I have. Do I have one live? Here's an example I think I showed you right here. This is a client. We have 232 registrants to this event. You can see where it appears. It appears over here on the left-hand side in events. You can see all the events that I belong to here. And to create an event, it's the easiest thing in the world. You just click this button. You upload a banner. You fill out the time and date of your event, you put the description, you put who the speaker is, you click next, and it's done. It literally takes 5 minutes, right? So super easy. Then, okay, this is the other thing, just to make sure that people understand. LinkedIn events, even though it sounds like it's like a platform where you can host an event, all LinkedIn events is a place for you to invite people to register for the event. So you create an event, LinkedIn event on LinkedIn. You invite people to the event. They say yes or register. But you host it, or we've been hosting it just like what you're seeing right now in Zoom. So what we do is we do the registration on LinkedIn. We send that information over to our CRM system where email reminders are sent out by our email system. And yes, LinkedIn does send a reminder, but it only sends one, and we want to send more reminders than that. So therefore, we send out emails. So this beginning part over here, the registration is in LinkedIn events. The rest is outside of LinkedIn events. Okay. So here's the creation. I just showed you how you create the event. Pretty easy. Then when you're inviting people to the event, there's two different ways. Number one is LinkedIn. It says right next to after you create the event, it says, do you want to invite people? You click yes, and you just simply start inviting people. And LinkedIn doesn't even give you a chance to customize the message. It just starts inviting people, right? We also like to use Sales Navigator, or you can even use free LinkedIn to invite people. How many people on this call are using Sales Navigator? Anybody using Sales Navigator right now? So I want to show you what I'm doing in Sales Navigator real quick. So not yet, plan to try it out soon. Okay, so in Sales Navigator, what we do is so right now you can see at the top, this is LinkedIn right here, right? And then this is my Sales Navigator. In Sales Navigator, I can search for whoever I want to, right? So I can say I want a current job title of, Human Resources Director. And it's going to find 220,000 human resources directors, but I want that in United States or North America. Now I've narrowed it down to 100,000. Maybe I want to do, let's say Texas. Okay, I found 100,000 human resource directors in Texas. I can also say I want them to be a first degree connection. That means that's how many human resource directors that are in my personal LinkedIn account, or first degree to connection, or this is what I like to do. So I send messages to the people that are 2-degree connections to me that are in my target audience. And you can save these to a list or a leads group, and then you can start messaging to them. So I show you, these are leads groups, for example. Here are marketing, gotta look at one that actually exists. Here are people that are in computer vision or whatever list I have, but I can send a message to each one of them. In that message, I can either connect with them. In that connection message, I can say, hey, Henrik, we have a meeting next week discussing something that I think is relevant to you. Would you like to join us? Right? Then he connects. Then after the connection, then I would send a meeting invite link, if that makes sense. Okay. You don't have to use, by the way, you don't have to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator. You can use the free area. I could say, I want to target human resource vice president Oregon, for example, and press enter. And it pulls up almost the same thing right here. And I can click up here, second degree connections. And I'm almost doing the same thing. I can make sure that I have Oregon shown here. Now I'm finding VP of Human Resources in Oregon. So if you don't want to pay the $90 a month for Sales Navigator, a lot of people don't know that you can do some sort of filtering right here for free, and then you can start connecting with these people, right? So that is an easy free resource that a lot of people don't even realize they have. So you can manually invite people to your event, or you can use LinkedIn automation software to invite people to your event. So I do a little bit of both depending on what I'm doing. Okay. So when you create an event, there is a little button to invite people. And this is what it looks like. Really easy to do. You can invite 100 people at a time if you wish, which is great. So what I do is I invite 100 people a day. And then I have certain messages. So I just wanted to share a couple of these with you just so that you could see, and I will share this PowerPoint presentation and even my Google Doc with a copy in this with this at the end if you wish to use it. Number one is if I want to connect with somebody that have never connected with before in my life, I would send a message that says something along the lines with, I'm hoping to connect with you because I would like to invite you to our marketing AI roundtable. Our next topic is digitally cloning yourself. I thought you might be interested. Would you like an invitation? That's the connection message. My connection messages in LinkedIn right now, if I leave it blank, gets around a 25 to 30% connection rate. Okay, so that's just standard connection rate if it's a blank message. If I add this in there, it goes up to 35 to 40%. So I've been getting a higher connection rate with this message. Notice how there's no link to the invitation to register. That's because in the connection message, in the invite to connect, you are not allowed to. You can't have a link. So I say, would you like an invitation? Then I follow up. Thank you for connecting. Here's a link to the round table, right? We typically focus on discussing innovative implementation of AI. It's tight, engaged group of marketers. It's not a sales meeting. I hope you can join us. And then I put the LinkedIn event link here. And this has been working really well for us. Connect, say, I would like to invite you to an event. Are you interested? Then follow up with the link. Make sense? Okay. So that's how I get people to the events page to register. So you can do the regular invites, and then you can also send connection invites. Once you get to the page, you can download all your invitations here. Let me show you what this looks. Oh, hold it. Let me show you what that looks like. So, let's see if I could show you. I'm going to show you what it looks like to download. So when you are on your invite page, you can manage your attendees, you can message them or whatever, but there's also this little button right here that says download registration info. And there it is. All of your information, all of the registration information is downloaded right here. Now I know when they registered, their name, their address, their email address, and also whether or not they've said, yes, I want to receive more information from you, or no, I don't. And that's how that works. Okay. Also, if you have done LinkedIn events in the past, there is a hack. If you get 50 people to attend your event in LinkedIn, what you can do is right here, you can change right before you host your event, you change, let's say the event is happening today. I would change the next event to be in July, right before my meeting ends. What it does is it holds over all of your registrations that you have prior and continues them forward. What that means is if I had 50 attendants registered for the event, then I have 50 more for the next, all of a sudden now this number goes up to 100. And then the next month it goes up to 150. And then the next month it goes up to 200. So it kind of artificially inflates your registrations. The reason for that is when people see that there are 200 people registered for the event, that increases the likelihood of them wanting to attend your new one. All right, let's go through this. I tend to send reminders via LinkedIn about the event, and I do that by simply logging in again right here, where you can manage the attendees and you can message each one of them, right? So I manually do that, and I actually I work with somebody in the Philippines that helps me do that manually. There is also an automated way to do that, meaning software to help you do it, or you can do it yourself. I do have a Zapier connection between LinkedIn and our CRM, so that way we can send out automated emails as well. And at the end of this meeting, I will share with you what our emails say, so you can decide if you want to use them yourself. You can just grab whatever I say and mimic it for yourself. So on LinkedIn events, I just want to make sure something is clear on my end. I like to do it manually. I call it crawl, walk, rock, run. I like to do my first LinkedIn event manually, meaning no automation. I create the LinkedIn event. I invite people myself. I send the connection messages myself. I enter the registration into Zoom myself. I upload all the information. I do a direct message, everything myself. Then in the walk part, I say, well, let me just automate the connection messages, and that's it. And then the run is I use Zapier to send the information to my email system. I send it into calendars. I have automated reminders. I have automated post reminders. I have everything automated. So crawl, manual, walk a little bit automated, and then run fully automated. Okay. The software I use on automation, there's many. I've used Expandy, Lemlist, Dripify, DuckSoup, and right now I'm using Buzz. I'll just show you a little bit. I think I have Buzz open somewhere. Right here. Buzz looks like this, where you can actually create drip campaigns, just like you would create drip campaigns for email. Buzz allows you to send drip campaigns in LinkedIn. So you can send a connection. It says, great, I want to connect. Do you mind if I share with you why I let out? And then you send a link to the event. This one's not live. We're still playing around with creating it, but you get the idea. Okay. So there are a lot of software solutions. If you have questions about software solutions, reach out to me directly. Again, I have worked with about 10 of them. Some are better than others, or some are just better for certain types of people than others. And I can help walk you through that if you wish. Next on the list, LinkedIn newsletters. How many people are doing LinkedIn newsletters right now? Anyone doing LinkedIn newsletters? Okay, Grace, nice. Sydney, okay. Are you guys having success with it, Grace and Sydney? You liking it? It's a little bit of work. Yeah, so yes. So I just want to make sure, Grace, you said slowly growing. It will forever slowly grow. It's not a fast growing thing, but it always grows, which is great. So first of all, on LinkedIn newsletters, I bet you many of you are subscribed to a few, which is great. But in LinkedIn newsletters, before setting it up, please, you have to turn on creator mode in order to access certain features like LinkedIn newsletters and LinkedIn Live. I think you have to have a certain number of followers for LinkedIn to approve it, but it's low enough. You should get approved. Why LinkedIn newsletters? Number one, it's free. You can reach new people that you haven't reached before, meaning if you create a newsletter right now, you're reaching to people on your email list. You're not reaching new people. With LinkedIn newsletters, you're going to reach new people. Also, your newsletters can engage with your audience like an email newsletter cannot. It builds trust and credibility with your leads. You can continue to be a thought leader and you can generate leads. You can target a specific audience, which is fantastic. This is an example of what we're doing with one client with all the newsletters. We've been doing weekly newsletters with them for 5 years. It's a slow growing thing. Now that we've been doing it for so long, it's been great. You can see on the right here is an example of a newsletter, the Late Disrespect Show. You could,
We only see your face, we don't see the screen.
oh, thank you.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Here is an, thank you. Okay, so here's the example. So we've been doing weekly newsletters here for them. So the company here is the Center for Respectful Leadership. So they're constantly putting out thought leader pieces in LinkedIn. They're targeting, again, HR folks. So here's the example of their newsletter, the Late Disrespectful Show. And you can see how people can engage and discuss the issues found in the newsletter. You can't do that in email newsletters. So this is really one of the unique points of the newsletter. Now, you have to get your newsletter up to a quantity enough to where you can get, some good amount of comments in here. And it took us a few years to do that. It doesn't happen overnight. Okay. To set it up, you first of all have to set up creator mode in your LinkedIn account. Then you can do you can click on the create a newsletter option. Yes, you can have the same newsletter in your email as you do in LinkedIn if you wish. We do slightly variations because we didn't want them to be exactly the same. Okay. Okay, so that's it for LinkedIn newsletters. If you want to be a thought leader on LinkedIn, I would recommend doing it. If LinkedIn is not your place to be a thought leader, I would not recommend it because it takes time. It takes additional time. Not a lot, but additional time. Okay. Next, LinkedIn Live. Has anybody used LinkedIn Live on the call? Okay. LinkedIn Live takes a little bit more effort to set up, but once you're set up, it's great. What is LinkedIn Live? People think LinkedIn events, they get confused between LinkedIn events and LinkedIn Live. LinkedIn Live is the live streaming of your event into LinkedIn. Okay. That means that you have to already have a streaming service, and Zoom counts. So Zoom can stream a webinar or a meeting into LinkedIn. LinkedIn does not have a streaming service. So you set up LinkedIn Live, then you connect LinkedIn Live to your Zoom, and then you can stream from Zoom to LinkedIn on a live basis. The benefit is that you're reaching an audience that you probably have not reached in the past, which is great. So the broadcast live video content for LinkedIn, it serves into your profile, both your individual and your company page. And it supposedly gets 6 times more comments than native video. It also gets cataloged and saved for future viewers in LinkedIn, whereas your regular one does not. So there are some benefits to LinkedIn Live. This is just basically how to do it. Okay, so when you set it up, it asks you what streaming tool are you going to use, and it gives you options. It says Restream, Social Live, StreamYard, Switcher, or Vimeo. But keep in mind, Zoom counts. Okay, so if you're using Zoom, not a big deal. StreamYard is the one that we've also used in the past and others have had major success with. I would say just simply use Zoom unless you plan on doing some major streaming. Grace, you said you use StreamYard. Yeah, that's the #1 go-to. And it's pretty sophisticated, isn't it, Grace? It's pretty nice. Yeah. Okay. In Zoom, when you set up your meeting, it does. First of all, there are some settings. Go to the advanced section and make sure to turn on allow live streaming of meetings. Then when you go into, I think the button is here. Do you know how when you go into set up meetings, This right here, this little section up here in the top right, it says this is the detail of the meeting, how many people registered from the meeting, how many people, what your email and branding. And if you look to the far right, once you click on this button over here, allowing for live streaming, then you have this live streaming section. Then you can customize your streaming service. Okay. Now you're going to see a lot of stuff, a lot of content on this page. I'm not going to go through that. What this is that I can send it to you afterwards. And if you want to read through the actual steps to set it up, you can. I would give yourself an hour to figure it out. It's not complicated. It's not complicated, but it's not like you click one button and it's streaming. There's a little bit of configuration. They walk you through it. It's going to ask you for the stream URL, the stream key, the live stream page URL. Now it tells you where to go get those. You just need to give yourself enough time. So what that means is if you have a Zoom event that you're doing and you have a LinkedIn event, first of all, you need to have Zoom and you need to have LinkedIn events. If you have those two ready to go, an hour prior to launching your Zoom meeting, you can launch in and stream it live. Okay. You keep in mind, you need to turn on the creator mode. If that's not on, it won't let you do it. And it should increase the amount of viewers that you're getting by 20 to 30%. Some, and I don't know about you, Grace, some are getting a lot more viewers when they're streaming, not just to LinkedIn, but you can also, if you use StreamYard, you can stream into LinkedIn, I have somebody streaming into Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, right? You can stream into all of them, right? So, but LinkedIn Live is free. So LinkedIn Events is free. LinkedIn Live is free. You might as well do them both in order to get as many viewers to your page as possible. So again, this is a brief recap. There are these are all free tools. LinkedIn Events to get people to register for your monthly event or however often you're doing it. It's free. Why not? You're accessing your prospects that are probably not going to find you unless you're doing something like this. LinkedIn newsletters, again, Grace, you got a good point. You're able to connect and get people interested in you that are second and third degree connections to you, not just the first degree. That's the big deal there. And then LinkedIn Live, connected to LinkedIn events, will find people that you did not discover originally, who will discover you and your message. So those are the three big takeaways there. Three tools. Okay, so my cheat sheets, a couple of them. Number one, I figured I'm going to just give you my wording. You can even if it just gives you some ideas. These are the steps that I follow to create a LinkedIn event and the wording that I use. You can take it and alter it however you see fit. I'm going to just give it to you. Okay. Then if you want, and you want to discuss anything further about how to do LinkedIn or anything else, you are more than willing to go to this link, and I'll put it in chat as well, and set up an appointment with me or anybody on the No Typical Moments team, and we can look at what you're doing specifically to see what we could be doing to help you get more attendees to your event. And then last but not least, you are more than welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn or send me an email or whatever you wish. Okay, so I tried to get through this in a roughly a half an hour and then open it up if anybody has any questions. Okay, also based on what I presented, anybody not doing events that now want to do events or are planning on doing it? Michelle. Oh, those are hands raised from something previously, right? No worries. Answering my question. You can take yourself on mute if you want to talk, Renee, too. Oh, you want to do an event? Oh, so Renee, for your product, I think it would just make perfect sense what you're offering. Um, by the way, once you get in a rhythm or a role, it's not that you're going to be spending 2 to 3 hours a month on it. Your first one, you might spend about 6 or 7 hours. Sorry, just being honest. And then it starts reducing in the amount of time, including the hour that you spend doing hosting the event. Do I have any tips in optimizing LinkedIn newsletter to increase engagement? So there's two different times of engagement. One is to get people to read it, and then another one is to get people to comment on it. Are you talking about increasing the comments? And then I do have one, and this is a hard one. Increasing engagement in LinkedIn, specifically in newsletters, but in everything. LinkedIn is a bunch of business people that like to look and read and not engage, meaning they're following you, they're seeing you, but they like to do it in the quiet and not engage. The only thing that I've seen, not the only, one of the things that gets people to engage is anything controversial, right? But so for like my client, the Center for Respectful Leadership, we don't want people to have a political discussion on LinkedIn. That's not the point. But what we want to do is say, hey, look, what's happening in politics is causing an effect in the workplace. How can we make sure that people feel comfortable coming into work? Let's discuss this issue. So it's a controversial issue, but the topic and the conversation about it is not controversial. So we've been playing around with doing things like that, having a controversial headline, but making sure that it's not controversial in creating a heated discussion. So that's been our challenge, and that's been what we've worked on the majority of the time. I hope that answers. Okay, good. Grace, so targeting people with the newsletter. So how have you been sending out the newsletter, or has it just been you just left it on automatic?
Well, I create the newsletter and then I create a post to go with it, and then I just publish it. I try to publish it at roughly the same time, but at least the same day. I do it bi-weekly, so I'll send it out on a Tuesday. But I don't haven't thought about how to necessarily like invite people, I guess maybe to subscribe. I haven't done that, and I'm wondering if is that what you're referring to when you say.
So yes, I am. However, you can invite anybody you want to the newsletter by sending out either a message to your first degree connections or second degree connections, right? And just invite people in to the newsletter. Instead of inviting them to the newsletter, I've been inviting them to the events. And then after the events, then they're invited to the newsletter. That's what I've been finding, that the events have a higher uptake and are more meaningful than the newsletter. So I've been using it more the events than
That way.
Is that what you're doing too?
That makes sense. I will do that going forward, especially because then when you do connect with people, they get the option to subscribe to the newsletter anyway.
Right.
Usually I think when you connect with someone. So yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Sure. I highlighted one client. I think I'm doing this now for 6 different companies, this strategy. As a B2B lead generation strategy, it takes a long time for it to convert, meaning there are some people that are like, I don't need your services right now, but I like what you're talking about, and they follow you, and then 6 to 7 months later, then they convert. And that's what we're seeing, and that's the reason why we're doing the LinkedIn events. We're staying in front of them with the events. And I don't like to call it an event. I don't like to call it a mastermind anymore. I don't like to call it a webinar. So I've been calling it a meeting. Good old-fashioned meeting. It's an online meeting. Can you join us? recently. Depending on what we're doing, right? And then for some of our larger clients that are doing events that have, 2,000 to 3,000 attendees, we're doing 3-day workshops. We used to do mastermind groups, but now we're doing 3-day workshops. But that's on a whole nother level. The LinkedIn events is a smaller version of that. All right, so that's it. Any other questions? If not, I want to give you 15 minutes back in your calendar.
Thank you, Chris.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Talk
Thank
later.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.